Hey everyone, and welcome to day two of the Stream Alligator Crossy Road game. I'm Daryl, and with me are Shannon and Richard.
Hey.
I'm Shannon. I'm a dev on the MakeCode team.
I'm Richard. I'm also a dev on the MakeCode team, and I'm at Richard on the MakeCode forums.
I'm Daryl on the MakeCode team, and I'm Darzu on the forums. All right, so let's take a look at what you guys made last time. So I see that we've got a little game here. Can you guys explain how this works?
Yeah, so last time we started working on a Crossy Road Frogger type game. So basically you play as a cat, which was lovingly hand-drawn by me, and you avoid cars and alligators right now as you go up to the top. So
Awesome.
basically what we did last time was we made the tile map. We started spawning some enemies, and we added some controller code for making it so that our cat moves on the grid.
I see that. So we have these 4 on-button pressed events that are each moving the character by 16 pixels. So that's why the character sort of moves along on a discrete grid as opposed to fluid motion, right?
Yep.
Awesome. And so in our on start block, I see that we've got this tile map that we've created. Very cool. And there's a river up here for some future stuff, and a bunch of roads. Here's our main player, and we're setting the position manually to, looks like the bottom of the tile map, down here somewhere. The camera follows the player, and let's see what else we've got. We've got on-game update. A few different things are happening. 50% of the time we are creating alligators, and 50% of the time, or 100% of every half second, we are creating some cars. So I see the cars. Let's go see if I can find the alligators.
Alligators are in water because...
there are the alligators. Nice. This cat can swim pretty well, it looks like. Awesome. All right. So we're creating these with a fixed velocity, it looks like, so they're always coming from the same sides. And we're placing them on top of either roads or water. Very cool. And when we overlap the top of the screen, we win. So let's see if I can make that happen.
Nope.
This is the
okay.
bug.
Yeah, so this was a bug we discovered yesterday, which we have now filed an issue for, where if you use the change X and change Y blocks to move, you will ignore collisions and overlap events. So we're not going to be using those for the rest of this stream.
Sounds good.
Great creativity.
Yep.
All right. So what should we do next? Shannon, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, so one of the things we talked about was making it so that the cars come from different directions.
Awesome. All right, that sounds like a good place to start. So I'm going to zoom in here to this on-game update that creates the cars. And so it looks like we have a 100% chance of always creating a car.
Yep. I should explain. The reason we have a 100% chance is because we were originally trying to adjust it, but we found that chance was best, and we didn't actually delete that code. So.
Sounds good. So I'm thinking there's a few different ways we could do this. We could either have an if statement around the velocity, and so we either set a positive or negative velocity, but then we'd also need to change the X position based on that to one side or the other side. On the other hand, we could duplicate this entire block here and maybe add 50% chance from one direction and 50% chance from another direction.
Yeah, the other thing is that, so right now the way we're doing it is we're going across every road tile and we're just spawning on a random one and then shifting it all the way to the edge of the screen. So that works because they're all moving on the same direction. So I think we might need a different kind of road.
Yes,
for one direction versus the other.
Each other.
Right. Yeah. I did notice that the cars are kind of they're driving on the left-hand side of the road here. I wonder if when we create them and then we just nudge them up a little bit, it'll look like they're driving on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that works with the perspective we have established.
Wait. The cars drive on the right. Are these cars on the wrong side of the road?
Well, it's right.
Well, they're in the UK, it looks like. Or maybe in a few other locations in the world.
All right. Cool.
All right. Maybe I'll try that. Okay, so I think what I will do is just duplicate this whole thing. And I'm hitting the plus button to add more branches to the if statement here. And I'm going to hit it twice. Actually, I just need to hit it once, don't I? So we can get rid of that. And now we've got, one moment while my computer catches up. So we can set this to maybe 50%. And now, let's see, if I take all of this and I duplicate it,
I think the stream might be frozen.
Oh, one moment. Let me see.
Is this perhaps a technical difficulty?
Oh.
Looks like a technical difficulty.
Yep.
Okay, I'm trying again. How about now? Can you see what's going on?
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
All right, we're back.
But I did get to put up the technical issues card for a second, which I'm pretty happy about.
Okay.
All right, so I've now got two branches in the if statement. And first up, this new car, maybe let's change the color of it?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? All right, so we've got a lot of grass, so we probably shouldn't make a green car. How about a purple car?
Sure. Yeah, my childhood car was a purple car. Well, the one that my parents had when I was a child, not when. I wasn't driving as a child.
That was a bold choice.
All right, purple, I like it. And maybe this orange will go pink.
And then you probably want to put the windshield on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Actually, it kind of looks like a windshield.
Drivers in this community, but
it does look somewhat bi-directional right now. Let me kind of swap that. Something like that.
Yeah.
Looks good.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. We can always tweak it. And so now I want to set the velocity of this new car from the other side. So I'm just going to grab the same velocity and just get rid of the minus sign. And so now it's heading in the opposite direction. And like before, I'll place it on top of a random piece of road. And actually kind of right away, we might see it appear. There's some. Oh. And so we have those collisions that we were worried about. And this time, instead of setting the X to 200, I think we want to set it to 0, right? Because we want it to show up on the left-hand side always.
I think you might actually have to make it.
Oh,
nope, never mind. That's good.
That worked. All right, so now let me see if I can nudge the car up just a little bit so that the cars don't look like they're colliding, but with the perspective, it should look like they're passing each other on the road. So I'm going to go to the sprites category and say change my sprite, and I'm going to change it from my sprite to car. And instead of X, let's have the Y position, and we probably want to move it up by, what do you guys think, 10? Something like that?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Oh, that's a little too high.
Yeah, maybe 8.
Let's try, I'm going to do a binary search, which is where I keep trying it in the middle. Oh, that's almost there. Maybe 6? All right, let's see how natural or unnatural that looks.
I think you need to set the Z index.
Oh, yes, we do need to set the Z index. Richard, what does the Z index do?
Yeah, so when we draw all the sprites to the screen, we just kind of draw them in whatever order they were created in. But sometimes you want to make it so things that always appear on top of the other sprites. In this case, because the purple sprites are farther behind, we want them to appear below the red cars because the red cars are in front. So we can do that by setting a lower Z value than the red cars have. By default, the Z value is 0. So by setting it to -1 here, we're actually able to make it so that it is behind the red car.
Okay. So the Z value can be a negative or positive integer?
Yep.
Okay. So let's see how that looks. It looks like things are working out. All right. So I wonder if this has made our game considerably harder or not. Oh, also, I noticed that these cars are actually just stopping here. So there's one block I didn't copy over, and I'm guessing this destroy on wallhead is going to fix things for me. Let's try that. Okay, so now we've got the purple cars moving all the way over to the right, and they disappear, like we would expect. So let's see if I can make it through this. Seems like a lot more traffic. Oh, nope. Let's try again. I'll just go quickly before they show up. All right. Great. So I think that worked out okay. Yeah. What do you guys think? Any more tweaks we should make to the little cars?
No, it looks good to me.
All right. How about the alligator? Should we do the same treatment for the alligators or something different?
So, I mean, right now, I think what we should try and do is make it so that you drown in the water.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, in order to, if we drown in the water, then we also need a way to not drown in the water.
Yep.
And to do that, we could have maybe some floating logs. Would that work?
Yeah.
So floating logs could be sprites, and we could do a check to see if we're over water and not colliding with the log, then we drown. Otherwise, we don't drown.
Yep, sounds good to me.
All right, let's add some floating logs. So I'm probably just going to copy and paste this whole block here and start with the alligators. I'll modify them into some logs. Oh, the alligators are allies? Oh, they're alleys. I see.
Alligator.
All right, so I'm going to create a new variable here called log, and I'm going to change all of this code to use the log. And then these are just going to be, yeah. And I'll probably add a new kind, actually, that I'm just going to call log, because they're not really enemies. Now let's draw.
Real quick, Daryl, what is a sprite kind?
Oh, so sprite kinds let us classify or keep track of many different sprites in a similar way. So the alligator, the car, both cars are all of type enemy. And what that lets us do is, where is our code that overlaps with enemies? Aha, up here. So when the player kind, and so at the start of the game, we created our cat of kind player. When it overlaps with another sprite of kind enemy, then we lose the game. And we didn't have to say here when it overlaps with an alley or overlaps with car 1 or car 2, we just got to say enemy, which captures encapsulates all the cars that we, or all the enemies that we could be colliding with. So that saves us a bunch of work. And so logs, we don't want to lose the game when we overlap with. So we probably want to pick a different kind than enemy. And they're not a player, they're not really a projectile, and they're not a food. So that's why I created a new kind. All right, so I think I'm going to try and draw a log, and I'm not confident in my ability to do this well. So I'm going to grab the big eraser, erase that alley, and let's see how this goes. Let's start with, actually, I kind of liked that big brush. You make the body of the log, and then go smaller. Ooh, actually, I have the circle tool. I wonder if this will help me. A little bit. Let's try over here. I think we're a little too small to use the circle tool well, so I'm just going to go by hand here. So let's make one side of the log, and then make this log a little bit thicker. Kind of bring it down like that. And feel free to throw out tips as I'm going. Let's see.
I saw my car earlier.
It was a great car.
This is a great log.
Okay, a little bit of log-ish stuff. Maybe I'll add, just a tiny little stub branch there with the leaf. So looks a little bit like it was alive at one point. And maybe some like purple, a little darker at the bottom because it's sort of a little bit of shading. All right, we'll see how that looks. I'm gonna go up to my water, and so this should already be starting on the water, just like the alligators were. And there we see our logs, and you can see it's they're smushed together with the alligators right now. There's no logic for them to be different. So actually, I think I want to make the logs a little bit wider because it really doesn't look like the cat can comfortably fit on that log. Let me see if I can do that. I'm going to use the selection tool to move half the log down a little bit, and then just fill this in with some brown and some more of this other brown here. All right, a little bit wider. That wasn't a big change. Okay, let's journey through these roads. All right, I think that'll be workable. Okay, so now when I try and jump on a log, let's see what happens, and then let's think about what we need to do. So waiting for a log to show up in the first stream here. No logs. There we go. Okay, so nothing happened, so I didn't drown, and I also I also showed up underneath the log, which is interesting. So again, this is a z-index thing. So I'm going to go to the sprites category, go down to the set my sprite property block. This is useful for setting all kinds of things on the sprite, including the z-index or the depth. I'm going to set the z to -1 because I want it to be behind the cat. One other thing I might do is, what do you guys think? If a log hits an alligator, what should happen? Or should they be separated somehow?
Or you could just get rid of the alligator altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, or we could get rid of the alligator because the new danger is we're now drowning.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to temporarily at least turn off the alligator, and I can do that just by setting the chance of it spawning.
Yeah, I just mean like when a log overlaps an alligator, you could just get rid of the alligator.
Ah, you're right. Okay, we could do that. That sounds great. Okay, so I put the alligator back there, and now I'm going to look for, in the sprites category, I'm going to look for a collision. And what should the kinds of this collision be? So when the player overlaps a player, probably not, right? Let's see, when the log overlaps an enemy. And so is it going to be a problem that enemy here can be cars as well as alligators? What do you guys think?
Well, we're only spawning the logs on water, which cars never spawn on, so it shouldn't.
Shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think you're totally right. Let's go to the sprites category and drag out the destroy block, and we can destroy the other sprite, which is going to be the enemy, or in this case, the alligator. And maybe we'll pick an effect. Ooh, spray. That might be appropriate because it's in water. Hopefully it doesn't look too violent. I kind of want the idea that the alligator is just going under the water, not that it's really being
annihilated by the log.
I'm not sure you're gonna see it because it would just be when they're.
Yes. So they're coming from the same side. So I think I'm going to do the same trick I did before, which is let's switch the side that the log comes from. And so instead of 16, I think we can do 200, which is what the cars from the other side were coming from. And every time I have to navigate, oh, there was something. Ah, yeah, there. So the alligators, they don't go away right away, which is interesting. Maybe we should just make this.
So they won't collide after they're destroyed, but they'll just take a second to disappear.
Okay. I'll make them disappear a little bit faster, just so we can, yeah, it doesn't seem like they're colliding with us. All right, so now we have some logs. I think what I will do is change the tile map to put some water closer to where I start, just so I can like test things a little bit better. So I'm going to go to the on start, and then I'm going to take, go to my tiles, grab this blue, and just draw a little bit of water down here. And there's no reason to go down here for the gameplay other than, but it's helpful for when I'm testing. Let's see how that looks. And yes, we've got an alligator, and they're probably going to come slower because now they're sharing the spawn with the water up above. Because we're placing on a random blue tile, it's going to happen probably like half as frequently as it used to. Okay, so again, we're not able to, we're not drowning. So let's add that logic. And I think the easiest way to do that is an on-game update block that is going to be, this will be running some code very frequently, once a frame actually in game logic. And so that's about 60 times a second or 30 times a second.
I think we cap it at times a second.
Okay. And then I'm going to go to the logic category, and I'm going to say if. So if some condition is true, then we want our cat to be considered, drowning, or maybe not drowning, but they have to turn back and you lose the game. So I think we want to lose the game once we're ready to drown, but I need this conditional statement first. So if I go to the scene category, I think I can figure out whether or not the player is on a, let's see, hitting wall, probably not that one. Yeah, how do we check to see if we're over water?
Yeah.
The one underneath.
Tile
2. Oh, I see. So we can say if the tile center of the player is water, then we do something. So we'll lose the game, and then I'll need to add another branch into this conditional to see if we're overlogged. So now if I just go into the water, we lose the game. And you didn't actually get to see me go into the water because it ends as soon as it detects that I'm about to go into water. So going down and then lose. Okay, so let's, so we don't want to lose the game if we're overlogged. So to do that, I'm going to say, I'm going to use an AND condition. So if I go to the logic category, I can say AND. I'm going to say, so if the tile under us is water and it's not the case So I'm going to drag out a not. It's not, oops, it's not the case that we are colliding with a log. So let's go look for this overlaps block. And so this overlaps block behaves differently than other collision blocks we've used before. This is checking the condition of whether or not we are overlapping with a sprite. So let's pop this back into the true. And so we want to say when the player overlaps with a log. So this is going to be tricky. Can you guys see a potential problem with this?
Yeah. So this was something we talked about in the last stream. That log variable is only going to be pointing at the last log that was created. So this will only stop you from drowning if you happen to be in the log that was created last.
Right. Can you guys think of an alternate way to do this?
I can.
All right. What you got?
So in the arrays category, which is under advanced.
Advanced arrays.
There is a set sprite list to array sprites of kind player.
All right. Let's drag that out. Oops.
And you can loop over all of the logs and we overlap with any of them.
Okay. So let's do that. So what I want to know is if we're overlapping with any of them. And so I think I will need a loop for that. So I'm going to go into the loops category, and I'm going to say for element in list, and the list is going to be this sprite list that we just created. So this sprite list represents all the logs currently in the game. Now for each one of these, I want to see if I'm overlapping. So what do you guys think? Should I use a variable here to track whether or not we're overlapping with any log?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Let's set a new variable here. Oh, actually, let's first say I'm going to make a new variable that's called is on log. So is on log, and we're going to say that starts with false. So we're not on a log. And then for every log, let's check to see if we're overlapping. So if the player overlaps with a log, then we want to set is on log to true. All right, so now
And
this is going.
your overlaps check.
Yeah, you need to change the log to value.
Oh yeah, so value represents the current log in this list that I'm looping over, and so I can use that to check to see if the player is overlapping with the last log. And then, in fact, to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to rename this from sprite list to log list. So this is the list of all our logs. And so this is one of the reasons why loops and arrays can be so very powerful, is that we can check many things at once, kind of like this. All right, so now I have this variable is on log, and I can drop that into this not statement here. It can be a little tricky to get this lined up right. Let's see, let's drag this out. Sometimes it's easier to make blocks snap together if you sort of drag them apart and then drag them back together. Okay, so if the tile that the player's on is water and we're not on a log. Actually, I'm going to remove the is here to make it a little easier. So, and not on log. Then game over, lose. All right, so let's see if this works. So I know that if I just run into the water, then it's game over. And let's see if I can, oh, that I forgot the logs win against the alligator, so I was waiting for the alligator to leave. Let's wait for our next log. So now I'm on the log. Oh, and so as soon as the log passes underneath me, then I lose. So I think that was pretty hard actually for me to stay on the log. Oh, I did it for a little bit there. So I think what I want to do is maybe make the log a little bit longer and a little bit slower. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, you can make the log carry you. Does that happen in Frogger games?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's see. How do we make the log carry us? So I guess in the case that we're on a log, then we could just set a velocity on the cat. And if we're not on a log, then we unset the velocity. What do you guys think?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So one question I have, though, is once we're on the log, we'll be sort of drifting smoothly with the log. But then if I step off the log, I might not be on that 16 by 16 grid anymore. Do you think that will matter?
Yeah, let's try it out.
All right, let's just do it.
Only horizontally.
Okay. So I'm going to actually bring out a new if statement here. And I'm going to say if we're on the log, then I'm going to set the sprite's velocity, the my player velocity rather, and the velocity is called Vx. And let's see, what was the velocity of our logs? It was -50. Okay, so let's set the velocity of our cat to -50 as well if we're on the log. And if we're not on the log, then we want to set the velocity back to 0. How does that sound?
Looks good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's try it out. Waiting for a log.
Whoa.
Oh, so I was on the very edge of the log and the alligator got me. So you gotta stay carefully positioned on the log. I think that's a good game challenge element. Let's wait for another log. Okay, there we go. Ah, now the log got the alligator, and I lost because the log went off the edge of the screen.
So I think
and then I fell into the water.
Impossible right now.
Well, if you get the perfect alignment of logs, you can zip across.
Gotta wait for 2 logs.
So the way that Frogger
logs come from opposite directions, right?
Yes. So each row is opposite directions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me. Oh, so this will be impossible. I can jump off. Let's just see if I can get 2 in a row.
Moving at the same velocity. Oh yeah. So they're never gonna line up if you.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
We could also adjust the velocity.
Uh-huh.
I think you're gonna have to make them go in opposite directions.
Okay, so I can do the same trick with the cars. So maybe in the case we could make 2 lanes out of each tile of water because the logs aren't quite the width here. So I could shift one direction up a little bit and the other direction down a little bit. That's one idea. What do you guys think? Or any other ideas?
So my idea, which I don't know if it's better, was to go back to our tile map and make it so that the lanes are different. So maybe we use light blue on where we want the log to spawn, and then we can do it that way.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's do that. And then we get to see a variety of techniques. Oops. Oh. Accidentally grabbed a block there. Let me put that back in. Okay, so let's go to the tile map. And so you're saying we'll have a slightly different water tile for spawning logs heading in one direction and a slightly different water tile for logs spawning in a different direction, right?
Yep, so we should create 2 new tiles here.
Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this twice.
Yeah, so we'll have one that's just regular water. We'll have one on the ones that are supposed to spawn this way, and then one that's supposed to spawn this way. And we'll have to spawn a little bit.
Okay, so I'll edit this one, and maybe what if we do something as simple as having kind of a blue bar on the side that it's supposed to spawn on?
Yeah, that was
Or are you thinking we could do something more decorative later, like maybe have lily pads on one side or something like that?
Yeah, I tried drawing.
Here, I'll start with.
It's really hard.
let's do that. I'll try one lily pad. Let's just see. Oh boy, not a great start. Let's add a little red, and yellow. That'll do.
It looks
Okay,
like
so
either a lily pad or some pond scum.
yeah, so I'm gonna place this on one side, and I'm gonna place this other tile on the other sides there. So now we can differentiate the water lanes that we have going on. All right. Let's see if we can make that work in code. So now, when I'm spawning, so alligators I think can probably stay as they are. Logs, on the other hand, should, let's see, we're probably going to need them to spawn more frequently since there's fewer of these special tiles. But we're going to want them to spawn on, let's see, this tile here, which is the blue bar on the left. And we're also going to, oh, actually, so we can see them now. They're moving along there. Actually, so these are logs moving to the left, so I should have them spawn on this other tile. And then we're going to create another branch here to spawn on the other direction. Okay. So let me duplicate this. And actually, the easiest thing, I'm going to duplicate this whole if statement and drag out this inner stuff. Move it there. And then I've got this shell of an if statement that I'm going to remove. All right. So now we can spawn another set of logs on the other side with an opposite velocity and an x of 0 instead of 200. And now I think the logs will start coming from both sides. Let's see. There's one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, let's see if I can make it across. Oh, no log in time. Let's see if I get more lucky this time. Guess that would have been my chance. Okay, get on this log, get on that log. Ah, oh, okay. Didn't quite make it.
I know what's happening here.
Okay.
So right now you're always setting the velocity to be one direction when you.
Oh yes, that's right.
But I have an idea for a fix. If we go back to that.
Yeah. This code here.
Yep. So right now we're setting the velocity there, but you could actually set it in that if statement that we have for the if overlaps.
And then we can set it to the velocity of the log, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's do that. So let's grab this, and we're going to say the player's velocity is going to be a property of the log, and I can do that with this property of block, and I'm going to say the use this value here. So this represents the log in the list that we're looping over. I'm going to say the velocity in the x direction. We're going to grab that from the log, and we're going to mimic it on the player. So the other thing I think I need is the the standard case is that we need a velocity of 0. So I think I'm just going to move this up here so we always say the velocity is 0, and then if we hit a log, then we change it to the velocity of the log. And then let's drag this out. And because this is running many times a second, is when we're not colliding with the log, this code will apply. All right, let's see if this works. Okay, a log. Oh, no log. Okay.
Lucky that time.
Get unlucky. I'll go over farther. Now I got more runway. Okay, still didn't make it. Let's see. Oh, that was probably my chance. Oh, hey, nice. I made it.
Hey.
All right. So I can't actually win the game down here because this was my little test water. It's just to distract players. So let's go up to the top and see if we can win the game now. All right, now we've got some logs. Oh, no, I tried to move up and I was too late. Let's try that again. Up. Okay, jump on that log. Okay, jump off. Let's go over. Get more time. Oh boy. Nope. I'm not very good at this game, guys. Should I? Maybe I can slow the logs down, but let me try again. Okay, jump on there. Jump on there. Oh, nope.
Getting closer though.
A little bit closer. I think what I need to do is when I hit the second row, wait a while until I get farther over. There we go.
Yeah.
Right. Now we would have won if we had that code working. So actually, I can fix up that code right now.
Yeah.
And the way we can work around that particular bug is using the on-game update again, right? We could just do this trick where we say on-game update if the player is, I think this is in scene, is overlapping this, what did we say, this middle one here, huh?
Yeah, I think
this. So it's a player, center of the player is on this green grass, then we just win.
And just to clarify, this is a bug with MakeCode that we found. So this is sort of like a temporary workaround until we've fixed the on Sprite of kind overlaps at location, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. And so this is actually, these two should be equivalent. And it's actually useful to know of this alternate way of doing checks sometimes because, so in MakeCode, we built a number of events like this, the on-player overlap. But oftentimes, like you saw with colliding with logs and water down below, there isn't an event exactly for that. And you can kind of make your own event by using this technique here with on-game update and if. All right, so let's see if I can actually win the game now. Let's walk all the way to the top. Oh, it's too eager. Okay, I gotta go fast before the cars show up. Now go over this way, jump on a log, hoop, jump on this log, jump on that log, and we win!
Yeah!
All right, thanks. We got a game we can win and a game we can lose. That's a game book. All right, and look at the British cars passing each other nicely. Okay, what do you guys think is next? Or should we?
I think this is a pretty good stopping point. We're almost out of time anyway, so.
Okay, great. Well, thanks everyone for stopping by. We'll have a link to this new game that we built here, and hope you learned something. And please post on the forum if you have any questions. We'll be here tomorrow, and for many weeks to come. All right.
Yeah. Real quick before we sign off, what should the name of this game be? I've been naming them based off the stream. So, third stream. What was the main thing here? What?
Now it's a full game. I feel like it should get a real title.
You think so? What should we call it?
Title? Well, there's a cat. We're in the UK, likely. There are alligators, though. That's tricky. That throws a wrench in things.
Right, because alligators are not native to the UK.
As far as I know. Although, maybe they escaped from captivity, and, we're just encountering some of them.
That's true. There could be zoos on either side of the river feeding alligators into the local supply, devastating the ecosystem.
Yes. And the cat hero is on his way somewhere for some important purpose.
I like this British theme. Should it be Cheerio, cat, cross that road?
Oh, I love that.
All right, let's do that. Okay, so I'm gonna just rename it down here in the bottom. how do you even spell Cheerio, Cat? Cheerio?
2 E's, 1
Cat?
off.
I think like the cereal.
Cheerio. Cat. Cross that stream. So good. And I'm actually going to copy, so I'm going to save this to my computer. Actually, this is going to pop a dialog. Let's get rid of that. And what do you say we have a little splash screen as well? Is that an info?
Scene.
Scene.
I think it's in game,
sorry.
actually.
My bad. Yeah.
Game. So actually, another way to find this is by searching for splash. And then I can see that, yes, this block here can show a splash screen. So now we see Cheerio, Cat, cross that stream. Great, and then you hit A, and you're in the game. And maybe I'll update the tile map to remove this very deceiving set of whoops, hit done. Very deceiving set of river pieces down here. So that you kind of know that's not the way to go. All right, I think that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Daryl said, we'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. and we'll be making a new game. All right. Well, that's it for us, folks. I'm Richard.
I'm Shannon.
Daryl.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.